his whole entourage would be back here while he was up front.
Yep. Typically back here it would be cabinet ministers, government ministers, heads of the armed forces, people like that. Except for the last two rows, which would have been the servants.
Listen, listen. It's got weird feet in this position. My feet are really wide. I think this is going to go back there now. GBB, DC, GG.
Just avoid that beam of the signal. You testify when you hit your head on that, it hurts. I've done it a few times.
Look how tiny the windows are.
Is the door would just come through. It's not the door you come through if you change 5,000.
See, that's. I've got a replica of that tiny metal thing.
The Soviets sent a dog, sent like the Americans actually tried to send a monkey and it failed. And then no, it survived. And then they said the monkey was like, oh god, look, we're so generous, we don't need the monkey up in space. We're just so much better because it's around the thing.
That's all.
Yeah.
So these are all the variations. Oh no, these are like doing something we need to offer the Concorde time. And then US, UK, that's France, okay. Concorde is still more fuel efficient than the 747. I feel like we really need to raise the bar a bit.
Yeah, you know, I used to know a guy who wanted to be a pilot, and no one wants to now.
Want to be a pilot?
No, he used to want to be a pilot. Where we just now.
The last one? Yeah.
Police.
I really wanted to see some kids. That's a very small door.
It's like a tin can there.
Yeah. Superheated. Concorde family tree. Trident, Griffin, Durandal, Mirage-3, Mirage-IV, TSR2, HP115, Vulcan, Type 188, Lightning, Type 221, Type 115, Back 223, Concorde, Super Caravel. So here are all of the orders for Concorde. Japan, Braniff, Eastern, China Airlines, Lufthansa, Iran Air, G-BNLY, United, Continental, Air India, Singapore Airlines, Pan American, and Sabina.
Sabina.
It's a defunct Belgian airline, I think. So that's a lot of Concorde orders.
The Brooklands Concorde was the first British production Concorde, the third built in the UK. Golf Bravo Bravo Delta Golf, or Delta Golf as she's affectionately known, opened the door for Concorde to enter passenger service. Like every other Concorde, over 30% of Delta Golf's airframe was built here at Brooklands before being shipped to Filton for final assembly. In the hands of test pilots Brian Trubshaw and Peter Baker, Delta Golf first took to the sky on February the 13th, 1974, at the start of a test programme that would lead to Concorde's airworthiness certification. The first flight, which lasted 1 hour and 45 minutes, saw the aircraft fly from Filton to the Concorde test base at Fairford to join Concorde 002 and Concorde 01 in the British flight test programme. Delta Golf flew to many locations all over the globe, such as Singapore, Kuwait and the United Arab Emirates, during a flight test programme that lasted more than 7 years. She was the first Concorde to carry 100 passengers at twice the speed of sound. Delta Golf was used by British Airways crews for training in the summer of 1975. Over 50 training flights were conducted out of Fairford before passenger services commenced the following year. The aircraft's final flight came on Christmas Eve 1981, after which she was put into long-term storage at Filton. British Airways acquired ownership of Delta Golf in 1984 and in 2003 offered her to Brooklands Museum for restoration and display. Inside and out, the aircraft had been stripped of just about every conceivable part, but with BA's enormous Concorde spares holding, it was hoped that most parts could be found and eventually refitted. The aircraft was repositioned to allow it to be divided into 5 major sections, after smaller items such as the intakes and wingtips had been removed and transported to Brooklands. The Brooklands built forward and aft fuselage sections were the first major pieces to arrive at the museum in May 2004. A few weeks later, the 2 main wing sections were separated from the fuselage and transported the 125 miles to the museum. The final piece to be moved was the central fuselage section of Concorde, on which the restoration would be based. It was transported along the M4 and arrived safely at Brooklands after journeying down the leafy Surrey roads towards the museum. Hundreds of museum supporters, as well as His Royal Highness Prince Michael of Kent, were present to greet Concorde and see her being unloaded. Although it would be many months before structural rebuilding got underway, the volunteer team set to work restoring key parts of the aircraft, such as the droop nose and intakes, as well as beginning to remove 20 years of grime from the fuselage and wings ahead of repainting. The museum's contractors for the rebuilding started work in early 2005. The first task was to reposition the 5 main sections so that they could be reattached. When the aircraft was sectioned, new production joints were essentially formed. Aluminium channel sections were used to rejoin both the wings and fuselage. Alongside the structural work, the main volunteer effort got underway to repaint the aircraft. The surface was prepared before being painted with the trademark Concorde gloss white finish. After the forward fuselage had been rejoined, volunteers refitted Concorde's famous droop nose. With the structural rebuild nearly complete, Concorde was airbagged to full height to allow the landing gears to be fitted, the first time in nearly 20 years that the aircraft had rested on its own undercarriage. A volunteer team refitted the outer wingtips in late 2005, painstakingly installing over 600 bolts to hold them in place. With work underway to restore the interiors and cockpit, the volunteer effort in 2006 began with refitting the restored air intakes and rebuilding the engine bays. Special teams were formed to repaint and then fit the giant Brooklands-built tail fin, which was fitted in the summer of 2006, topping out the main rebuilding programme. Due largely to the efforts of an army of dedicated volunteers, sponsors and contributors to the museum's appeal fund, a Concorde with an uncertain future at the start of the millennium had been saved for future generations.
Come forward.
George.
Don't tell the big people.
The actual Concorde cabin. Can I get the window seat?
Yeah, you've got to sit there to see the screen.
So that's the visor lowered into the nose. Now down comes the nose to the takeoff position. It's actually just 5 degrees tip. The next thing we need to move is to move it to the full landing position, which is 12.5 degrees down. And that would enable the pilots to see the runway. And if you give him a big cheer, we might get him to wave his Union flag out the window.
This is the indoor cabin of the
You've got a horse on it.
Hunter
There's even a horse in there.
to cargo
See the horse?
discount. Huh. There's a horse here staring into my soul menacingly. Hello, horse. There's a lot of images. So aircraft here and there.
Imagine flying.
Shell parcels. Yeah. Cabin.
This is where the cargo comes in. This is
Here's the
cargo.
actual
Cargo door, George.
cockpit.
Cargo door.
Yep.